Yo, you guys, welcome back to another video. I'm Michigan Sports Talk here. In this one, we got a preview to the Orange Bowl college football playoff semifinal game between number 3 Georgia 12-1 and number 2 Michigan 12-1. This game will be played on New Year's Eve at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right after the Alabama versus Cincinnati game. This can be a great matchup. Can't wait to get into this preview video. The best rushing defense going up against the third best rushing offense in the country. It's going to be a fun one and a great matchup here. Going to be previewing this one. Make sure you guys watch the whole entire video. If you guys are new around here, I'd really appreciate it. If you could go ahead, hit that subscribe button. And other than that, let's get right into today's video. Alright, so obviously both teams coming in have one loss, and that one loss is to what was top 5 opponent. Michigan actually lost to number 10 currently ranked Michigan State, and then obviously Georgia losing to number 1 Alabama. Now, I think with Michigan, that loss against Michigan State really shaped them up to win out when the rest of their games, and then have a matchup against Ohio State to go to the Big Ten Championship, in which they dominated both those games to be crowned Big Ten champs and go to the playoffs. Meanwhile, Georgia just dominated all season long and was the definite number 1 team in the country, and then lost to their opponent that they just cannot find a way to beat in the SEC Championship, Alabama. So right now the spread is still 7.5. It actually opened up to 7.5. I'm pretty sure it went up to 9. But right now it says Georgia 7.5 right now. So that is the spread right now. And then ESPN is also giving Georgia a 67.6% chance to win it, and Michigan a 32.4% chance to win it. Now, obviously, everybody is picking Georgia to win this game. You know, it's kind of like a safe bet, I guess you could say, because they have been so dominant all season long and they have the best defense in the country. However, Alabama kind of exposed Georgia a little bit. Georgia, you know, they have a kind of a weaker secondary. Alabama took advantage of that and really just threw the ball all over them. So first of all, before we get into all the Alabama Georgia game, let's go over the schedules here. Georgia, to start off the year, they beat Clemson 10-3, then they beat UAB 56-7, beat South Carolina 40-13, beat Vanderbilt 6-2-0, beat Arkansas 37-0, beat Auburn 34-10, beat Kentucky 30-13, beat Florida 34-7, beat Missouri 43-6, beat Tennessee 41-17, beat Charleston Southern 56-7, beat Georgia Tech 45-0, and then lost to Alabama in the SEC Championship 41-24. And now, you know, that brings us to this game. Looking at the stat sheet here, Stetson Bennett, before we do get into that debate about, you know, if they should start JT Daniels or not, well, they're probably going to have to start Stetson Bennett now, because JT Daniels actually tested positive for COVID, and he actually has it, and I do not think that they will be able to get him back unless he tests negative with what was probably like 24 hours before game time. I'm guessing that's what the rule is. But yeah, right now he has COVID, so he could not be able to play, and that was supposed to be like their quarterback to go to if Stetson Bennett, you know, struggles against Michigan just like he did against Alabama. But in that game, he had 29 completions on 48 attempts, 340 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and those 2 interceptions were definitely costly. I know he threw some stupid passes, I think, at the end there when they really needed to score a touchdown, and it just made some, you know, unforceful turnovers where you didn't have to force the ball anywhere. And then rushing wise, they just could not get anything really going. James Cook, he had 11 carries on 38 yards. Kenny McIntosh had 4 carries, 32 yards. And then Zamir White actually had 7 carries for 27 yards. Stetson Bennett ran it 7 times, 11 yards, but also got stacked. And receiving wise, you have Brock Bowers, 10 receptions, 139 yards for 1 touchdown. So yeah, Brock Bowers, he's tight end at Georgia, definitely their best receiving threat there. He is very good and also fast. But yeah, he had 10 receptions, 139 yards, and a touchdown. Then George Pickens is also a good receiver. He had 2 receptions, 41 yards. Burton had 3 receptions, 36 yards in that one. McConkey had 2 receptions, 35 yards for a touchdown. And then Zamir White, he had 2 receptions, 17 yards. John Fitzpatrick, 1 reception, 22 yards. Then Darnell Washington had a reception for 5 yards for their third passing touchdown. But yeah, definitely keep a lookout on Brock Bowers. He's going to be a threat in this game. And then also George Pickens. But yeah, those players, also McConkey and Burton as well. But yeah, definitely Brock Bowers. Look out for him. And then their defense is just really insane all season long. Obviously, one of the big man, Jordan Davis, one of the biggest defensive linemen in the country, and he's gonna have to contain him. The offensive line for Michigan has to do really well. But as you look at the stats here for Alabama, they had a total of 536 they had a total of 536 yards on Georgia, with 421 passing yards and 115 rushing yards. Alabama also had 0 turnovers, and they had 3 passing touchdowns. 2 actually. Bryce Young rushed 1 in for a touchdown, then had 2 passing, I'm pretty sure. Alabama did have 3 passing touchdowns, and then also Bryce Young had a rushing touchdown. He played phenomenal, 421 passing yards. And then Jamison Williams and John Mechie, he got hurt, but they really just destroyed Georgia's secondary. Then obviously Michigan is a rushing team, so you go ahead and look at their schedule. They beat Western Michigan 47-14, beat Washington 31-10, beat Northern Illinois 63-10, beat Rutgers 20-13, beat Wisconsin 38-17, beat Nebraska 32-29, beat Northwestern 33-7, lost to Michigan State 37-33, beat Indiana 29-7, beat Penn State 21-17, beat Maryland 59-18, beat Ohio State 42-27, and beat Iowa in the Big Ten Championship 42-3. Now you look all season long, Cade McNamara has really not had to pass the ball that much. You even look at last game against Iowa, he only threw the ball 24 times, completed 16 completions, had 169 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 tipped interception. Then J.J. McCarthy also came in, and he can throw the ball too. Donovan Edwards had a nice trick play throw to Roman Wilson. But then rushing wise, you have Blake Corum, obviously 5 carries, 74 yards. Hopefully he is healthy. He's got that hurt ankle. Hassan Haskins had 17 carries, 56 yards, and that one with 2 touchdowns. Blake Corum had that long rushing touchdown as well. And that is your lightning and thunder for Michigan for the running backs, and obviously the offensive line, creating holes and gaps for them to have success running the ball. Receiving wise, Rowan Wilson, 2 receptions, 82 yards, 1 touchdown in the game against Iowa. This is all the stats against Iowa, by the way, in the Big Ten Championship. And then Luke Schoonmaker, a tight end, had 2 receptions, 49 yards. And then Michigan's starting tight end Eric Gall had 2 receptions, 43 yards for a touchdown, 1-handed catch, huge by him. Then you also have, obviously Cornelius Johnson, Andrew Anthony, Mike Samersville for Michigan receiving wise. Then Iowa, story of that game, they just could not do literally anything offensively. They had a total of 279 yards, 175 passing yards, 104 rushing yards. Michigan had a total of 461 total yards, 250 passing yards, 211 rushing yards. So a really great mixture of offense for Michigan. However, against Georgia, I do think we will have to pass the ball more, and by the end of the game, I think we have to have more passing yards than rushing yards to win the game, but I could be wrong. We might have success running the ball against Georgia, but I think, in my opinion, just the way Alabama played, they just passed the ball all game long, and they really, obviously Georgia has had dominance all season long, and maybe that's what Michigan has to do, is pass the ball more. Against Michigan State stopped the run, so if Georgia does stop the run against Michigan, I think you will see a Michigan offense against Michigan State where they are passing the ball and having more success passing the ball than running the ball. But then again, you just cannot have turnovers against this Georgia defense, as that will make them gain confidence and make momentum. I think that's one of the things Alabama did well in that one, not only passing the ball great, but also not having any turnovers. When you don't have any turnovers against this defense, it's going to really, I think, affect them, because they haven't felt like they made a play all season long. They have had momentum, getting turnovers and everything. If Michigan doesn't turn over the ball, which we rarely do, and really Cade McNamara on the season only has 4 interceptions for 15 touchdown passes. And he has 199 completions on 308 attempts for 2,470 passing yards. So Cade McNamara really protects the ball, only takes shots when it's really open. And then for Stetson Bennett, he has 148 completions on 231 attempts, 2,325 passing yards, 24 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. Then you obviously have Hassan Haskins, 261 carries, 1,288 yards, 20 touchdowns, and then Zamir Whitehead, 135 carries, 718 yards, 10 touchdowns. These are all the season leaders. So that's rushing. And then receiving for Michigan, Cornelius Johnson, 38 receptions, 609 yards, 3 touchdowns. And then obviously you have Bowers leading Georgia, 47 receptions, 791 yards, and 11 touchdowns. So the thing about this one, Michigan has had, 39 rushing touchdowns on the season, and Georgia has only allowed 3 rushing touchdowns on the season. So it's going to be really, hard fought smashing football between these two, because obviously you have a great offensive line. They won the Broyles Award for Michigan. They did their offensive line, so it's going to be a very good matchup going up against this Georgia defense. Look at the team stats here. Points per game, Georgia has 39.4 points per game, Michigan 37.7 points per game. Georgia has only allowed 9.5 points per game, Michigan has only allowed 16.1 points per game. Total yards, Georgia has a total of 442.8 total yards per game, Michigan 451.9 total yards per game. And then yards allowed, Georgia 239.9 yards allowed, Michigan 316.2 yards allowed per game. And then you look at the rushing yards allowed, Georgia 81.7 rushing yards allowed, and then Michigan has 223.8 rushing yards on offense per game. So it's going to be a great matchup between these two, the offense of Michigan, the offensive line, taking on Georgia's defensive line. And their defense, we'll see if Michigan can run the ball or not. With my guess, like I said, I think Michigan will have to really pass the ball, maybe get in another few of those trick plays, but really open the offense up and have some big plays. You're going to need some big plays, maybe even another big run from Blake Corum. Going to have Hassan Haskins convert in the offensive line on short down situations. The game's going to come down on little things like that, I think, especially for Michigan to pull this one off against this great defense. And also, I think, Michigan, I think they have an advantage at the quarterback position. Stetson Bennett just did not look good against Alabama, and I think Cade McNamara and J.J. McCarthy is probably better than Stetson Bennett. And now with J.T. Daniels has COVID, I mean, that really hurts Georgia because if they can't go with him instead of Stetson Bennett, they're pretty much stuck with him. So I think Michigan has an advantage there defensively. Obviously, Georgia has the advantage though. But yeah, I mean, I think Michigan does have the advantage offensively. I think Georgia has the advantage defensively though. So it's going to be a very close game. We'll see what happens. I'm not going to give a score prediction on this one. Just because I think it will be a closer game, or it could just be a blowout, just like Georgia has blown out the rest of their opponents before Alabama this season. And that's really the crazy part, is they have dominated every single team that Alabama has played this season. Alabama struggled with some teams, but then Alabama just put on a show and cruised right past Georgia's defense. So it's gonna be I think a tough matchup for both teams, and I think if you are a fan on either side, it's kind of an iffy situation for both teams. I don't know which team or fan base should be more confident. I don't know if it's Michigan or if it's Georgia because of their defense. I think for Michigan, you have better quarterback play. I think you might have the better offense, and you have dominated teams on the ground, but many people think you can't throw the ball, but you really can throw the ball, so that could be another advantage as well. If Georgia doesn't think that Michigan can pass the ball well, they might be in the wrong for that. But then on Georgia's side, you have the best defense in the country. You have dominated teams all season long, and maybe the Alabama game was just a fluke and they just played terrible. So I don't really know which team really has a confidence grab on this game, I guess. That being said, though, let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think of this game, who will win it. If you guys do want to post score predictions, you can. It's gonna be a tough matchup, and I really think that, you know, it could come down to a few possessions in the fourth quarter maybe. But for Michigan, if you are Michigan, you cannot turn the ball over. You have to really sustain drives and, you know, take advantage of good drives. So if you have a chance to score a touchdown, you know, it's going to be hard kicking a field goal on like 4th and short against this defense, because obviously you're going to take the points early on in the game. But if you get down like 10 points in the third quarter and you need to go and score a touchdown, and you know you have to, you know, you might still take the field goal to make it a 7-point game. But if you're down and you really need a touchdown, I think you go ahead and, you know, go for it if it's like 4th and 2, 4th and 3 maybe. You know, it's just the gambling and the strength and dominance that Michigan has to show, and I think Harbaugh has been pretty good with that this year. I mean, I know against Wisconsin, for example, it was like 4th and 1 in Wisconsin's territory when we had the ball at the beginning of the game. Harbaugh showed some guts, knew he had a better offensive line and a good running game, and he used it, and he got the first down on 4th and 1. So it's going to come down to huge plays. McNamara going to have to keep the ball safe, just like he has done all season long. Haskins and Corum has not let a fumble up at all this season. Hopefully that continues as well. And if you are Michigan, you know, defensively you have to create turnovers. You hope to have Stetson Bennett throw a couple terrible passes like he did against Alabama and really capitalize on those. And you're really going to have to, you know, have those types of momentum plays, especially defensively. And special teams, Michigan has been really good on special teams, probably one of the best special teams groups in college football, you know, so hopefully they continue what they're doing and maybe get like a blocked punt, blocked field goal. That would always help, especially in a playoffs game. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I touched up on everything. Like I said, it's going to be a huge matchup. Michigan going to have to pass the ball, I think, more than usual, just because I think Georgia will stop the run pretty well. But then again, Michigan might be able to run the ball. You just never know. We'll see what happens. But Georgia with the best rushing defense, Michigan with the 3rd best rushing offense. It's going to be a battle, going to be a dogfight. And between two great football programs, two great football teams this season. And we'll see who ends up with this one. Should be a fun one. New Year's Eve, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be a fun one. And I think that will wrap up today's video. Hope you guys did enjoy this one. If you did, please drop a like, subscribe for more. Go Blue. Hopefully we win this one. But if you are a Georgia fan, it's going to be a great battle. And good luck to you guys. Should be a good one. And but yeah, that being said, I think this should be my last video before Christmas, so I hope you guys have a great Christmas. We will be out with another video probably after Christmas on the 26th. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great Christmas. Merry Christmas to you all. And one more thing before we close this out: Michigan getting pressure on the quarterback with Ojabo and Hutchinson in that defensive line. That will be key as well, so watch out for that. And also Georgia, on the other hand, getting pressure on Cade McNamara on that side as well. Both of those will be a factor as well in this one. That's the last thing I got on this one. Hope you guys did enjoy, and I hope you guys have a great Christmas. Merry Christmas to you all. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and we will see you guys in the next video. Peace.